Donald Trump Jr. had a little bit of a meltdown at the first 2024 Republican presidential primary debate. Of course, not as a candidate. This was after the debate, and he was at the event, and he wanted to be let into the what was being referred to as the spin room. It was the post-debate TV room where they were doing interviews with candidates and talking to people about the debate, and it was for Fox News's television coverage. And Don Jr. felt that he was entitled to be there, and then he wasn't let in because it was the son of a guy who wasn't even there. You're not the candidate, you're not even a candidate, and you're not even the family member of a candidate who's here, so we're not going to let you in. And they could have let him in, they could have not. That was up to Fox News, but to him it was a huge violation of his entitlement. And so then he had this little meltdown out in front of the spin room, as you'll see.
Right now, trying to ban people from actually having discourse about politics.
How un-American.
Probably shouldn't surprise any of us.
How un-American. How un-American. TV stations shouldn't be able to choose who they interview.
But that's what it is. And I've been told by others that I would be able to go in. So they said we were able to go in, then they said they weren't. Now that we're here, and the candidate that
said you can't go in the spin room.
They're telling me right now, Fox won't let me into the spin room.
That's what the American people should know. This is the kind of
they're telling him, he works for security here, but they're telling him that I'm not allowed to go in there. Because the candidates that they've been boosting while simultaneously trying to cut down Trump for the last, 2 years, didn't perform as they had hoped. So they can't have someone who can maybe be a representative of my father. Just like a few weeks ago when I was canceled after the first indictment, I was scheduled to go on. And about 5 minutes before I'm on, I found out I'm no longer on because apparently I wouldn't be a great surrogate to talk about my father's indictment. Just so we understand what we're dealing with here. So it shouldn't surprise any of us. And it's also why...
Just burning the Constitution, Fox News is. Gosh, what a horror.
Trump was 100% right to not go to this debate.
Exactly.
It's beneath him, and when you know that you're walking into a setup because of exactly these kinds of circumstances, you understand exactly what's going on in mainstream media, even conservative.
It's very
I like to knock the one
against
side, but I got to call
Amendment.
balls and strikes. This is no different.
I'm sorry. Just pause for a second and think about what we just heard in the background. Try to listen and see if you can hear the woman's voice in the background.
I like to knock the one side, but I got to call balls and strikes.
I missed that the first time. She goes, it's very un-American. Okay, wait. It's against the First Amendment. Meaning, she believes that the First Amendment, oh my gosh, this is nonsense. The First Amendment obligates Fox News to let Don Jr. on whenever they want, or whenever he wants. That's what this individual on camera or behind the camera, whatever, believes. Whew. They really need to do a little bit more constitutional reading.
I like to knock the one side, but I got to call balls and strikes. This is no different than what we see from the Democrats. It's no different than what we're seeing from the Fulton County DA when they're trying to put a gag order on Donald Trump so he can't defend himself in court proceedings. And more importantly, to function as an intimidation tactic for anyone else who would defend him, where the DA there is then saying, hey, we're going to add you people to the indictment if you take part in this. I don't know, guys, doesn't reek of democracy. All the people that have been screaming that for the last 6 or so years, especially during the Trump presidency, when I believe we had a lot more freedom than we do now.
Okay, so there, contextualize for a second who he's saying this to. He's saying that he is being wronged like his father's being wronged. He's comparing the prosecutions of Trump to what's happening to him in that moment, which for someone who believes Trump is a big victim and, oh my gosh, it's all political persecution and Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis is horrible. And it's wild that Don Jr. would say, you know how they're doing all these terrible things to go after Trump and they're trying to muzzle him with a gag order. They won't even let him threaten the judge or anything or tamper with witnesses. All that political persecution, all that horrible violations of his rights, his First Amendment, that's also happening to me right now with Fox News and not letting me interview. Yikes. Now, as I was preparing for this segment, I found that clip and not a lot to talk about it around the clip other than just watching it and laughing. So I thought to myself, what's another Don Jr. clip we could go back to? If you haven't seen this clip yet, you're in for a treat. This is probably my favorite clip doing this show the entire time. Here is Don Jr. insisting he doesn't snort cocaine, and in between saying that makes the most bizarre noise I've ever heard.
I get it. My guys who I stayed in touch with, many of them just dear friends. They're like, hey dude, there's no way you would have gotten away with that. I go, I know, luckily I don't snort all cocaine, like it's not my thing.
I don't snort all cocaine. One more time.
Gotten away with that. I go, I know, luckily I don't snort all cocaine, like it's not my thing.
I'm never gonna comprehend that. I don't snort all cocaine. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Don Jr. The First Amendment is being shredded by Fox News to go after him and to persecute him because they won't interview him. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.